Hi everyone. Now that we have our instruments set up, we can start making some sounds. Before we begin, if at any point during these lessons something's not 100% clear or you want to review anything, please go back in the video and review them again. You can also use these timestamps below to go back into certain spots in the video for any of the examples. Okay? So before we begin on page 4, let's review how to create a sound. So obviously the primary amplifier of sound is our mouthpiece. The way we set up our lips to actually get our lips buzzing, our lips vibrating, is think of the word like that's yummy, right? See how our lips are nice close together and the corners of our mouths are a little tight? Almost feels like a weird smile, right? Like So when we are ready to start getting a buzz going, think of relaxing your lips a lot and making that kind of purr sound. While you're doing that, you're thinking of So and notice how the buzzing is focused primarily on that center. I can do it fairly easily because I've been playing brass instruments for a while. It might take you a while to get comfortable with that feeling. That's what the mouthpiece is for. So at home, if you don't have access to your instrument that you can't really play out loud in your room or in your house, practice with your mouthpiece. So you set your mouthpiece against your lips, do that shape. If you want to start a little bit further back from that and just practice going in your mouthpiece, just to get a feel for that, then go you can do that. Otherwise, starting on setting up your mouthpiece, make sure half of your top lip is there and then half of your bottom lip. You don't want it too high and you don't want it too low. Right in the middle, 50-50. Once it's set up, it's going to sound a little funny, but once you get that kind of buzz going through your mouthpiece, it's going to be a lot easier when you put it onto the instrument. Another thing you can also practice with just the mouthpiece is what I call sirens, going up and down as high as you can, go, and then as low as you can go. And what that's doing is it's kind of like lip push-ups. You're building up the muscles in your lips that you haven't developed yet by doing that stuff. So you can practice doing a lot of that stuff. It's going to sound like a mosquito sometimes if you go super high. And if you go pretty low, it's going to sound really, really low, right? So something to practice if you are having difficulty getting that buzz going with the instrument. Not you're good with the buzzing on the mouthpiece. You put the mouthpiece back on. And then, same concept. You bring your instrument to playing position. Remember, don't go to the instrument. Bring the instrument to you. And then get the buzz going. And let's see what type of note you can get. You can get something low. You can also get something high. Or even higher than that. We won't go that high yet. So if you didn't any of the higher notes or anything lower than that, that's awesome. But just practice playing around. And if you notice, I haven't moved my slide at all. That's just in that one position. Okay? And that's a cool thing about brass playing. You can play a lot of different notes up and down using the same position. So that's why it's really important to do those lip push-ups on your own and practice playing a lot, because it'll make it a lot easier for lips to remember how to play a certain note. So now that we're ready to play and get a good sound going, let's turn to page 4, and we're starting with exercise number 1, the first note. And if you notice here, it's talking about an F. So for that F, it's that same note that I just played. That's first position all the way in. You don't even need to take your slide lock off. Just leave it there. F is somewhere in the middle. It's not too low. So this is our F. If you feel like it's too low, then make sure we're not relaxing our lips too much. Tighten up a little bit more on the corners of your mouth, kind of like I was saying the word kind of a weird smile. And think of pushing faster air to get to the higher note, which is the F. So we're starting on our F. If you notice, there's a giant arrow pointing towards the next, what we call measure. If you notice, each little spot here is divided by a vertical line. Each one of those is a measure. So if you notice, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 measures in line 1. The first measure, we have a note with an arrow. The second measure, we have a word that says rest. We're not playing during that measure of rest, which is nice and quiet. Then the third measure, we have another note, another F, right? And we play that one for the whole measure. And then the last measure, measure 4, we have another word for rest. And that's where we're resting. So what we're going to try is we're going to play these notes for 4 counts, for 4 beats. So with my right hand, I'm going to be counting with you as I'm playing the note, so you can kind of notice how long we're playing each one of those notes. And during the rest, we're also resting for 4 beats. Okay, so let's give this a try. I'll play it first, listen to it, and then you can play along with me. So I'll play it twice. The first time, I'll play it just so you can hear and follow along. So here's line 1. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 2, 3, 4. Now give it a try with me. Let's try line 1 together. And see if you can match my F. If it sounds like yours is a little too low, tighten up the corners of your mouth like a weird smile. Remember, right? And if it feels like it's too high, do the opposite. Drop your smile a tiny bit just to make sure it's not super tight and we're going too high. Okay, so see if you can match my F. Here we go, line 1. Ready? Play. Good, nice job. So that was line 1. Good job. Let's go now to line 2. Count and play. So if you notice here, we're introduced to a new type of note. So it's still the same note, F, so slide all the way in, but now we have these dots, these black dots with a stick sticking out of those. Those are called quarter notes. So remember how I was showing you 1 beat at a time? Basically, each one of those notes gets one of those beats. So here we have 4 notes in a row. So every time I'm showing you the next count from 1 through 4, that's a single note that you're playing. So ta, 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 ta. So in order to divide those notes, you got to use your tongue a little bit. So the tongue is not coming out of your mouth. So we're not, right? The tongue is going to be tapping the back part of your teeth. If you ever had watermelon seeds or something like that, where you're spitting something out, it's that type of feeling. So it's not leaving your mouth, it's just kind of tapping the back of your teeth. So try doing that on your own, just to get a feel for that, without your mouthpiece, without your instrument, just. Once you get a feel for that, we're just going to be putting it in context with that. Before you even play line 2, just try that on your own. Any note is fine, and just try practicing that. It's a good way to get comfortable doing that while you're playing. So let's look at line 2. Here we have 4 of those notes in measure 1. The next measure, measure 2, if you notice we have those weird squiggly lines. Those are called quarter rests. Okay, so each one of those also gets a beat for those 4. We have 4 of those in a row. So that's 4 beats of rest, silence. So we play, 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 then silence, 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 silence. Then you go to the next measure, measure 3. We have 4 quarter notes again on F. You play those 4 notes. Then you get to that last measure, measure 4, and you have 4 more squiggly lines, 4 more quarter rests where you don't play. Okay, so I'll play it once for you, listening to it, and then we'll try it together. So here's line 2. Remember, you don't need to take your lock off. You can just leave it on. Make sure that you're holding it. I'm not holding it right now just because I'm counting with you. But when you're playing, make sure you're still holding onto your trombone with your right hand. So here's line 2, playing it for you first. Rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest. Good. Now let's give it a try together. Line 2. Here we go. Set your playing position. Make sure you're not going to the instrument. Bring the instrument to you. Stand up nice and straight. Both hands on your instrument. Here we go. Ready? Play. Nice job. Good. So that was line 2. Let's go on to line 3, where we're now introduced to a new note. So for line 3, we have an E flat. Similar to the line 1, we're going to be holding the note for 4 counts, 4 beats. Then next measure, silence. Then the third measure, 4 beats on that note again, And then last measure, silence again for those 4 beats. For E flat, we can now start taking off the lock on our slide, making sure your hand is still on the slide. And our third position, if you notice the bell, the slide you're going to be putting right before you go past the bell. That's a good way to check for your third position on the trombone. If you go too far in, you're going to be a little too high. If you go too far out, it's going to be a little too low. So it's right before the bell. Okay? You can also use a finger as a little guide, just to make sure you're not going past that bell. Okay, so that is third position. And E flat, third position, sounds like this. It's a little lower than our first note F. It's going to sound a tiny bit lower. So that's how you can check if you're too high or too low. Okay, so let me try playing line 3 for you first, and then we'll play together. So since I have to use my hand now, just going to make sure you're counting with me. I'll bop my head a little bit. Don't do that while you're playing, because that's going to make it a little bit harder for you to play. But I'll do it just to show you what the beats are. So here we go, line 3. Take the lock off, third position. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now let's try it together. Here we go. Line 3. Set your playing position. Set your E flat position. If you need to use your first finger as a guide to make sure you're not going past the bell, you can do that as well. Here we go. Ready? Play. Good. Nice job. Now let's go on. Line 4. Line 4. We're going to be using our E flat we just learned for that first measure. So we're starting on our third position. We play that note 4 times in a row. Then if you look to the next measure, measure 2, we have those 4 squiggly lines. So that's 4 beats of silence. Make sure we're counting those 4 beats together. Third measure, we're not going to play E flat again. We're going back up to the first note we learned, F. F. So remember, that's all the way in on your trombone. All the way in for that F note. And we play that note 4 times. And then that last measure, measure 4, we have 4 more squiggly lines. We play that note, we play the rest 4 times. Okay? So I'll play it for you once, listening to it, and then you'll join me after that. So here's line 4. Ready? Play. Rest, 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 F. Rest, 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 rest. Let's try it together. Line 4. Set your playing position. Starting on third position, you can use your first finger if you need to as a guide. Ready? Play. Good. Nice job. Let's go now to line 5. Line 5, we're learning our new note D. And we're going to keep going lower and lower. So for D, it's going to be 4th position. So we just learned 3rd position, which is right before the bell. 4th position is right after the bell. You can kind of use your finger, but it's going to be a little bit further than that. So your finger might be a little too short to reach, because otherwise you're going to be a little too far in. It's going to be a little bit past the bell. You can use your eyes to kind of see it. Right past the bell. That's going to be your 4th position. And it sounds like this. Right? It's a little lower than E flat. A little lower. Let's give it a try. Line 5. I'll play for you first, then you play after me. Okay? Line 5. 4th position. Ready? Rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest. Now you try with me. So find your playing position and then find your 4th position, a little bit past the bell. Set your lips and ready, play. Nice job. Now, line 6, moving on up. So here we're going to be adding all 3 notes together into this example. Your D, your E flat, and your F. 4th position, 3rd position, and 1st position, all the way in. So we're starting with D, and we have 4 notes in that first measure, and then 1 extra note in the next measure. So we have a total of 5 Ds in a row. Then, the remainder of that second measure, we have 3 squiggly lines. So make sure you're counting only up to 3 for those 3 squiggly lines. So play, 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 then rest, rest, rest. Then, the next measure, 3rd measure, you play the D 2 more times, so you're still 4th position for those. Then you're going to go up to your E flat 3rd position, and you play that note 2 times. And the last note is your F, all the way in for 1st position. You play that note once. And then at the very end, we end with 3 squiggly lines, 3 quarter rests. Okay? So, I'll play for you once. Follow along in your book. And then we'll play it together. So here's line 6. Ready? And. Rest, rest, end. Rest, rest, rest. Okay? So let's give that a try together. Here we go. Line 6. Set your playing position. Starting in 4th position, a little bit past the bell. Here we go. Ready? Play. Awesome. If you need to go back and review any of these, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, I will see you on the next page.